Whispers in the Wind.
Hi, welcome to Whispers in the Wind, a podcast that gives your stories a voice. I'm your host Zafran Ahmed, and today I'm with Byron, who has a story about how he went from being assaulted at his work to battling depression and not understanding where to go in life, to eventually finding the light that made his life the best it could be. This is his story. So, Byron, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're about.
So right now I am doing jobs all over, trying to find where I fit in life, and this is the first time I'm doing anything like this, so it's something new to me, but I'm willing to tell my story so people can understand where they're coming from other people's perspectives. So if someone's been through the same sort of story that I've been through, I hope that this can help them overcome their own stories.
And just for reference, how old are you?
So I'm 20 years old. I finished college. I never went to uni or anything like that. Like I said, I'm still doing jobs all over, trying to find what expertise suits me. And my story starts when I was around 17 years old, for the most part. And I feel like it's been a long time since then.
So tell us a little bit about your story. What happened?
So what I wanted to talk about was something I went through on my first job, and something I found hard to understand, something I found myself struggling with. And that story is when I was abused at work. And
it was at this point Byron said something concerning.
I know it's a common thing to be abused, but a lot of people don't like to talk about it.
It shouldn't really be a common thing though, should it?
No, it shouldn't be. I actually I found a statistic. It's I think 1 in 6 people, which is crazy high if you think about it. And around these parts in modern areas, it's probably more popular than, rural areas where there's not as much people, it's not as crowded. So pretty much everyone you see around you has probably been abused. But just like everyone else, they don't like to talk about it. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to reach out to them people who have suffered from this kind of thing, and how I overcame it, and how this can help you overcome it.
So, run us by your story. What actually happened?
So, during work, it was a normal day at work.
And where did you work?
I worked at a Pizza Hut. I'm not going to disclose the location, obviously, but
Pizza Hut's the best. You get the best pizza there. It's amazing.
Well, I don't know about the best pizza. Best sides.
Really? Okay. You
best
tell.
sides,
all right,
yeah.
Guys. If you're listening, you tell us who's got the best pizza there. For me, it's Pizza Hut.
Okay. Well, if he's agreeing with Pizza Hut, I'll just stick with Pizza Hut, because why not? Why would I want to go against my place I work at?
All right.
But it was just a normal day at Pizza Hut. And one of the workers who had been there for about maybe 2 months or so, they started acting unnatural. So
when you say unnatural, what do you mean?
So by unnatural, they were like doing things that they never really did, as in they were being very close to me, even though I didn't really know them.
They're really invading your personal space.
Yeah, they were trying to feed me food and ask me personal questions about myself. So I found it uncomfortable. But it got progressively worse when he lifted my shirt at work to expose my bare skin. In the middle of nowhere. Like, it was crazy. It happened like fast, and obviously I pushed him away, but it gets to people, that sort of stuff. No one really likes that.
No, I can imagine. How did this take place? I mean, what was actually going on?
So, I was just working on a shift and I took a water break, like many people need, we're human.
Uh-huh.
And during the water break, that's when he started asking me personal questions.
What was he asking you?
He was asking where I lived and how far away, how many minutes it would take to walk there, stuff like that, how I got there. So I kind of like backed up a bit. I told him to like chill out with the questions, and he tried to feed me food that one of our other colleagues brought because they were having like a sort of anniversary. So he brought food over for the whole workplace, but then he just like tried to feed it down my throat like with his hands.
He was trying to force feed you.
Yeah, pretty much.
And had you said no, I don't want it? Or?
Yeah, I said no, I don't want it, and that's when I walked away. Got back on work because it was just during a water break. I wasn't supposed to be there that long anyway. And when he got to the point of him lifting my shirt, and I freaked out a bit, I pushed him back. That stuck with me for a while, and that's when I entered a phase that I don't really like thinking about, and I probably couldn't even think about if I wanted to. Yeah.
Did he, just this person that did this to you, did he do anything that was just out of just random or very odd beforehand?
No, he was completely normal beforehand, and that's why it caught me by surprise. But the worst thing about it was, it kind of reminded me of something that happened a while ago when I was really young that I guess my trauma tried to suppress me from remembering. And that's when I, entered a dark place where I boarded myself up in my room, try not to talk to people. I found it hard to be in social situations in that period of time. But I was able to get through it in the end.
What were you thinking about when you started to go into sort of that darker place? What were your thoughts?
It was kind of like I kind of lost faith in myself, sort of like it was hard to say. I didn't think that I could do anything. I kind of felt powerless, I guess. Everyone when they're abused or they go through something that humiliates them in some sort of way, they feel powerless in that moment. But for me, it was kind of like a cycle. So I guess at that time, I felt like how I felt when I was younger, and I felt powerless again. And I didn't want to be in that sort of situation again. So I isolated myself from other people, and I didn't want to do anything with myself.
How long did this last for before you started to climb your way out through this?
So it lasted for about maybe 3 or 4 months. It was during, which is even worse, it was during isolation, social distancing, when no one could attend classes because, everyone had to distance themselves, stay at home. And during that time, I just never attended online classes. I'm sure many people don't do that, or some people still do that, even without, being locked up in their own mind. But for me, I was what I'd say a good student, but that really got to me, where I didn't want to talk to anyone, any of my friends, any of my teachers. So it was like a setback. I didn't want to be online, didn't want to be talking to my peers, didn't want to do anything. Even my family, when they tried to confront me, I tried to ignore them at times, unless I had no choice.
Did you, What actually started the healing process for you? Because obviously this is with you for a while, and you've managed to come out of it happily. So
Yeah, I'd say so.
So for anybody maybe going through something similar, I mean, how did you find a way out?
So the first thing, the best thing was opening up about it, finding that trust somewhere, whether it be family, friends, teachers, peers, anything. And the first stage, I'd say, was opening up to my family, which was at the time tear jerking, because I told them things that, I kind of forgot myself until that point. And everyone was worried for me, obviously, at the time. But I told my friends as well, and once I'd done that, that's when I realized how many people actually care about everyone. They care about each other. And that's the best thing, the best feeling. That's what really overcomes being trapped inside your own head. When you realize that other people are there for you, and they're always going to be there for you, because it's just human nature for some people.
But sometimes it can be really hard to see. Like if something like this happened to you, you might be very nervous to tell your parents because you don't know what they're going to think.
Exactly.
I mean, how would you get over that?
That was, my parents don't even know still. I think it was too hard. The only family members I really told were my siblings, because I knew they would understand. But for parents, it's a whole different thing, and I'm sure I'm going to tell them in the following weeks. But even some people, you find it really hard to tell, no matter how close they are to you. And that's why I'm saying, find a comfort person, find someone that it wouldn't be all too hard for them to understand. I'm sure even your parents, like my parents, I'm gonna be telling them soon, obviously, but your own parents will understand. And I know I'm a bit of a hypocrite for saying that, as I haven't told my own parents, but they will understand. Your siblings will definitely understand.
What about your friends? Some people
Yeah.
I'm an only child. I may not have siblings. I only have
Yeah,
my parents. Luckily,
many people.
Yeah. So if you only have your friends, then what? But did you tell your friends?
Yeah, I told my friends. I think that was the easiest part, telling my friends, only because they feel like more relatable to the people. Your siblings sometimes don't feel relatable. Like, they feel like they're in their own league. Sometimes you feel separate from your family, which is hard to overcome as well, especially when handling situations like that. So, for me, my friends were more of a comfort zone than my own family at times, because it felt like I could tell them anything. Only, obviously, a select few that I told first. But, yeah, just everyone has someone that cares about them, and they need to know that. It's not many people know that about themselves. If you feel like you don't have anyone that cares about you, you're wrong. And that's what I want people to know. That's my main message. Just everyone cares about someone. Someone cares about everyone.
I agree. So from that event, how do you think you've actually grown? Because you would have to grow a lot from this sort of event. How do you think this event has changed you and you've been able to overcome it?
So, I think what I was told by someone of great knowledge was, little things make big things happen. And I think that was the best step. The best little steps, just little things at a time. So the first thing I done was I attended more classes. I got back into, learning. I asked my teachers for advice and things I didn't either learn during not attending classes, or it's like I've been struggling for a while. And that was the first thing. Then there was other little things like trying to care more about other people as they helped me, and then working on myself to make myself a better person, because people don't realize that looking after yourself helps other people as well. Look after yourself, you can be a better person, and be a better person for other people.
That's really good. So, with the person that actually did this to you, what actually ended up happening with him?
So, the person that did this to me, I felt it's kind of disappointing because they got fired, which was a good thing for me, you know. But at the time, I felt a bit disappointed because I wanted them to have justice, you know.
You wanted something more.
I wanted something that was deserved of what they did. Abusing is never right. It's never a fun thing. It's never good for anyone. And even little things like what he did, just the multiple little things that he done triggered something big that happened to me when I was younger. And that's all it takes. Little things make big things happen in both ways, whether it be good or bad. And some people, they don't know that, and that's what causes this kind of stuff to happen.
I can only understand, obviously, what I can understand. Obviously, going through something like this, I guess if you haven't been through this, you can't really understand how it is. But I guess I can understand a certain viewpoint. If something was like that happened to me, or somebody else that I knew, it would really, really be bad.
Yeah, there's a lot of things out there that make this sort of awareness known to many people, whether it be books, TV shows, advertisements. A lot of people are wary of this sort of thing, and even if they haven't been through it, they can imagine someone been through it, which is the greatest thing about humans. And that's why opening up to friends can be a lot easier than people think, because even if they haven't been through that sort of thing, they'll know what it's like. So they won't be able to picture themselves in a scenario, but they've seen other people in that scenario, whether that be through TV, you know, like I said, TV, books, anything like that.
So I mean, from that event, and you sort of started the healing process, talking to your family, your friends.
Yeah.
How long did it take for you to sort of really heal and move on with your life?
Well, I think like everyone, I'll never be fully healed. I'll always remember that. It always affects me. But it's like there's like sort of resistance that you build up over time, where you realize that that's not going to affect you anymore. That's not going to get to you anymore. You'll still remember it, so you'll never be 100% healed. But it'll be like a scar, you know. It won't really hurt you. It will just be there. You'll just know it's there. That's the horror thing. That's the horrible thing about it. You can never really forget that sort of thing. But
you were able to overcome it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There are ways to overcome it, and that's what people need to realize. Don't be stuck in a dark place forever.
And once you did overcome it, what did you end up doing with your life? Where did you go from there?
So the best thing that happened since then was one of my friends who helped me overcome this. They helped me get a job somewhere else, and from that starting point, I was able to, you know, realize who I am as a person, and how I can help other people, how I can be a better person to other people, stuff like that. And since then, I got another job as I'll just say it, as a barista, and it really helps knowing that even if I gave up this job, even if I moved on, I could get another job elsewhere. I have that courage now. I didn't have that before, and that was the best thing. That was the healing process. That's how I knew it helped. Once I knew that, like, I could be my own person, I could do my own things, that's when I realized that I was a different person, that I overcame that. I never kept myself in a cage. I had the key, I unlocked it.
That's awesome. I think anybody sort of going through this, or maybe hasn't dealt with this, but would want to avoid the situation, they probably want to ask, I mean, are there any sort of warning signs or anything you noticed that maybe can help someone in the future avoid the situation that maybe you experienced?
I think the warning signs are just everyone. Everyone needs to be more aware of how people are acting. It can be anything. Little things, like, I never really shown any signs. When I was going through that, the only time that I opened up, the only reason I did it is because I just felt the time was right. I just needed to get out my system. No one has, I mean, some people have signs that they're going through. As little signs can be like smiling more than usual, not smiling more than usual. It can be little tics, like them repeatedly touching like themselves, or shaking uncontrollably, or maybe them getting lost in their own heads, anything like that. But even like, there could be nothing. There can be no signs. No one's always aware of everything that's happening around them, no matter how much of a good picture they think they have of the world. There's always people that will never have signs that they're going through this sort of thing. Just the best thing you can do for everyone is let them know that you're there for them. All your friends, all your family members, you just make sure you know, or you make sure you let them know that you care about them. That's the best thing, because without that, I wouldn't be where I am now. Without people like that.
That's really awesome. And if someone was to do what that person did to you, I mean, you said he seemed very normal, he wasn't odd or anything.
Yeah.
But you said the fact that he was displaying a few odd behaviours here and there. I mean, how would you spot that?
It's really hard. I don't think there's a way you can spot that. Everyone has things that make them imperfect as humans.
Yeah.
There's no perfect humans. I think something that I've read, something that I've seen online, is always be aware of the people that you trust, because those are the ones that can really hurt you. Be aware at the places that you feel comfortable at, because those are the places that you can really be hurt. It's like that you see a liar, they're a liar, so you'll never really trust what they're saying. So even if they lied to you, you wouldn't be that hurt. But if you had someone that you really cared about, and then they lied to you, that's just an uncontrollable pain, knowing that you can never trust that person again. Those are the times you need to be aware of this sort of stuff. Just places that you think it would never happen. It's honestly, it's so hard to be aware of this sort of stuff, but there is a way to get past it. Just make sure that you're always there for the people that think that you're there for them. Don't just, display that you're there and don't be there.
What would you say is the number one lesson you've learned that will stick with you forever from this one experience?
The one lesson that I'm gonna walk away from this stuff with is just being able to look after myself. Because if you're looking after yourself, there's gonna be a lot less holes to be pierced in, kind of thing. People that this stuff happens to, not only are they sometimes beforehand defenseless to this sort of thing, but after that they feel less motivated to make themselves better. And that's the worst thing. That's what really gets people. Just, like I said, not being motivated to do anything, as I was. And that's the lesson I'm going to walk away with it. I'm going to just, be better towards myself. Look after myself more. Obviously, I don't want to be selfish. I don't want to, put myself above everyone else. But you want
to put yourself forward. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's the problem. When people hear that, they probably think someone's selfish, which is the message I'm trying not to get across. Because if people have that message about me, they won't really take this advice to heart. But you need to realize that If you're not looking after yourself, then you just have no self-respect. And that's what you need in these kind of situations, having self-respect.
I agree. The world is filled with people who care, and they are all around us. We just have to be brave enough to tell our truth. And as Byron said, be kinder to ourselves and give ourselves the respect that we deserve. After all, if we don't respect ourselves, who will? If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a comment about what you thought and how this story has helped you. If you have a story you want to talk about on the podcast, then feel free to message me on the Whispers in the Wind Facebook page. Link below in the description. With that, I'm Zafran Ahmed, signing off.